And opinions you are about to hear are of the hosts and do not reflect the management of CaveRadioBroadcasting.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole. Today is Thursday, July 21st. You are listening to a Gen Pop Media production. Brought to you in no small part by Elder Care. If you've got a loved one that needs a little help in an assisted living or at home, give the ladies at Elder Care a call.
Or let them move in with you and live there permanently, forever.
That's a great idea. What's the number over there at Elder Care, Dave?
Don't you remember it, Howard?
No, I don't have my cues again. I can give the call-in number for Cave.
It's 734-671-6518.
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm a website. Thank you. It is it. I'm pretty sure.
You should go to eldercarecares.com.
Wait, did I?
Did what?
Sometimes I give out my home number.
Yeah, I think that's what you just did.
What number did I give out?
Well,
671-6518.
Yep. The number to Cave is 313-879-5059.
Your number's written on the bathroom wall.
And David DiBiase's number is
for a junky time call.
And you could also just look it up online and Google.
Elder Care cares, man.
Freaking
phone numbers are like. Do you even need a phone number in business anymore?
We are dealing with elderly people. We are talking to.
Yeah, which means you forget phones, internet. Just send me a written letter.
Yeah, you could tie it to the leg of a raven.
Yeah, exactly.
A raven.
Dude, you get better. We should do a marketing campaign using homing pigeons.
There you go. I like it.
That would actually be kind of funny.
I like it. That would be very original. That would be very original.
That actually might work.
That's what I'm.
You get 1,000 pigeons and put a little message in there.
Hey, babe. Hey, you want to grab a mic on?
Hi, honey. Do you want to get on the air?
Oh, no.
My extremely better half popped in for a second. Nice to see you, babe. Nice talking to you.
Yeah.
So we're back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. We actually got on Kenny's show just prior to ours.
You guys had a call.
We had a caller looking for us.
For us?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's better than the wrong number calls we get.
Well, what did they ask Kenny?
They were calling in for something for your show, and I told them you guys start at 6.
Huh.
So maybe we'll
So hopefully they'll be calling
have
back.
straight from Seattle.
I just hope the bill collectors haven't
from
caught up
Seattle?
with me.
Yeah,
it wasn't
really?
credit, was
Wow,
it?
you guys.
Exactly. Is there a
Was
David
it GoDaddy? They were
Hooper?
stalking me today.
It was somebody from Seattle.
Yeah, this is Seattle.
That's what he said.
Someone
Really?
called,
Isn't Verizon wireless?
I get
in
some Seattle.
Maybe the IRS is in Seattle. Well, they're everywhere.
Well,
so
then we know who that phone call was for. Yeah. But if anybody else wants to call in, the number here at Cave is 313-879-5059, as Kenny just so astutely put. But, so we got the gang in here today. We got Kenny on the board. Mr. Hooper is to my left on your radio dial. Directly next to him is the beautiful cat. And Dave DiBiase next to her.
He didn't.
Yes,
He didn't get a beautiful in front of his.
I'm
name.
glad. That's fine. I'm good with that.
We need We need a picture
Dave
of you.
doesn't.
And
need
by the way,
me to
we
find
need
him attractive.
We've got to get something
I
that's
take
got
terrible pictures.
I've got that one
Although
that's
you
pretty
did take a
good.
pretty good picture of me.
Yeah, I
will give
could.
you that.
I know a graphic artist.
She's hot
The
in
guy
real
the next show is a
life,
graphic
and I do have a
artist.
photograph where she's hot, so I know it can happen.
Oh, yeah, dude, it was almost 100 degrees today.
But I do
was
have
roasting.
several where I'm like, is that the Catherine that
great.
I knew
Yeah,
from
see,
yesterday?
Yeah, the picture you snapped was lucky. You just the lighting was like just right.
Well, what we need, Kat, is we need some pictures like of me and you back in the day when we both had the hair.
When I had hair,
Yeah,
like
but you'll
John
know,
Bon
'cause it's
Jovi.
like-
I've actually
it's
got
like a
them with
Polaroid.
Howard back in the day.
Yeah. It's like those foggy Polaroids. Like, no, it's from last week, I swear.
No, really,
Yeah.
really.
It's all green.
I think you look better now than you ever have.
You think so?
Based on the
yeah,
that could
definitely.
sound mean. I don't want it to.
Definitely.
Ouch.
It's
I
okay.
agree.
It was meant to be a
understand what I'm saying?
compliment.
It was.
It was meant to be. It was.
It's like, hey, you look nice today. Oh, did I look like crap yesterday then?
Well, that's just
Well,
a ridiculous
if you're-
response.
If you're
So,
asking, then
that deserves a
you did.
smack. If someone says that, that
Some
deserves
people-
a smack.
Some people age well. God didn't make me so pretty when I was younger, so hopefully I'll leave a good-looking corpse, right?
Yeah, man.
I've got an
That's what I'm
awesome
shooting for.
Yeah,
skeleton.
that's a good goal, I think.
So where were we?
We're just talking about what's cooking.
Your recommendation on Joyce Meyer.
Come on, high five. Give me a high five.
How do you know this is high five worthy? Did you talk to Dave or
It
something?
does.
No.
No, because I can see it in your eyes.
Now, before I go off saying thank you for Joyce Meyer. I got to say, Kat's the first one that said,
I know.
I didn't even really know who
Yeah.
Joyce Meyer
When she
really
told me-
sort of was, other than having heard the name.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to, you got to get knocked over the head with something a couple
Yep.
times before it finally sinks in. Or hit rock bottom, whichever one. I think those were both going on.
That often precipitates change.
And I really do believe that this is one of the ways that this God or the spiritual world works.
Undoubtedly.
Because you don't call me every day to say, hey, you need to watch this video. It does happen maybe once a month.
Yeah, maybe.
Give or take.
You definitely send me way more videos than I send you.
And I haven't sent Jack
No.
to anybody lately. So you called me up a few days ago. When was this? Earlier in the week? Monday, I think? Tuesday? So,
I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
And you said, don't ask questions, don't browbeat it, just watch it.
Yep. I wanted
15 minutes.
13 minutes of your time. That's all I wanted.
I ended up putting in like an hour because you sent me part 2 of this 4-part
Right. 'Cause
thing.
see, the thing is what was is it? No, Melissa's friend. What's Melissa's friend's name from the girls' show?
Kate.
Okay. So months ago, when we were having a cocktail between shows and hanging out with Melissa and Kate and I struck up a conversation, and she had told me that this is not the only radio station she works at. I mean, which shocked me because I thought, this is the only radio station anybody should work at, right? But she told me that she also works for WRDT, okay? And she told me about the programming on. I'm like, because I like MUZ, but I'm not a big fan of the music they play on there. So RDT is kind of a patriotic Christian talk station.
Nice.
And what I love about it is during the day they replay things several times, and everything's short. Nothing's more than a half an hour long. So the reason why the Joyce Meyer thing is cut up into 4 segments is because it plays 3 times a day for 15 minutes. So when you're it's the perfect radio station for this kind of stuff when you're in your car, because you get something out of it no matter how long you're in the car. And for me, I had been praying about you. I've been thinking about you.
Thanks, dude.
How can I, help you get past this so you can feel some of the happiness the rest of us are feeling, And I ran out the door and I had to get to an appointment. I was late to an appointment and the radio was on and I heard that. And as I'm listening to this, I'm literally grabbing my phone and telling Siri, remind me at a time when I'm back at the office, giving Siri a time to call Dave about this broadcast. And so I get back to the office, and I'm trying to look it up off the RDT website. And I can't, it's not, when you take the link to the Joyce Meyer site, it wasn't the right message. I'm like, oh, no. So I called RDT up. I'm like, okay, so here's what's up. And I tell him the whole thing. The lady's like, I'm going to have to go in the back, but can I call you back in 10 minutes? Yes, you can. The lady called me right back.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, Anita and Allison over at WRDT and WMUZ. And they called me back and gave me the exact title of everything. I YouTubed it and then contacted you.
Yeah, it's like this has happened to everyone that's listening, everyone in this room. But sometimes you just need to hear something.
Absolutely.
And
Joyce Meyer is what gave me the courage to quit smoking. She did a segment 1 week on addiction. And I kept hearing it over and over again every time I was in the car. And I'm like, what the heck?
So, Catherine introduced me to Joyce Meyer. And it was on my list of material.
Yeah.
It's hard to cover. One, you're reading the Bible. And reading it's the wrong word. You're studying it. And that's, for me anyway, that's almost 2 to 4 hours just every single day. Literally, that's what it averages out to. It doesn't mean it's every day, but in the course of a week,
right.
I'll be in there 20 to 30 hours. And I'm always getting books sent to me and other videos that people have done, and they're like, hey, will you look at this and tell me what you think, or write a forward? And Kat, she had actually gotten me a couple of books. One was the Screw Tape Letters. Dynamite. Still not even done with it yet, but halfway done with that. Then there's another one which is on backup. And then she's also talking about Harvey Carey, who I also
gave him Christianity orientation. So
basically it was Christianity 101 from like the excited cheerleader perspective. And, I'm living in the dark side of all this stuff. Like,
no, God put those things on my heart to share with him.
I totally believe that. And so Joyce Meyer wasn't out of the blue when you call, but she was on my list of moving up slowly of things that I was eventually going to cover. So when a second person says it, I'm like, okay, that means shoot it to the top. It's not like first of all, I didn't have a big problem other than really I was having in Joyce Meyer's words, like like a pity party. Let's just, at the end of the day, I was starting to get bent out of shape because I didn't quote, God, I sound like her now because I didn't feel happy like I thought. I see all these
I feel you, brother.
And I'm just like, and that's not the most important thing in the world, obviously, but you'd like that to be in there. And I just start to listen to her thing, and it's like she's been sitting in my room, or she's in my house, and it felt so direct. And to have her, I really identify with people that can get up there and share their own stuff. And she says, look, I'm a work in progress. She talks about her husband, and I so identified with her because she wakes up, some days she's in a good mood, some days she's in a bad mood, and everyone else around her will know that quickly. And her husband, Dave, apparently is this like steady guy, just wakes up. I want to be like him, but that, I mean, if I'm in 101, this is like advanced PhD that I'm, so that's just forever and a week away. But a lot of stuff she said hit home. And her little angle it's like your behaviors. It's like your, And
I like the same thing about her that you do. And what I like about her, she's very real. And if you would have told me, and it's not that I'm a sexist or anything like that. I guess I haven't heard many women ministers. And so if you would have said that, usually I end up finding it's just because there are more male ministers than women. And I've heard Joyce Meyer before, and I like what she has to say. Every time I heard her talk, I'm kind of like, man, that makes a lot of sense. And she brings a smile to your face because she's using humor as she's telling you the story, but she's getting her point across, and she can do it in a way that everyone can identify with. And I think it's amazing. It's an amazing gift she has. And I have heard several sermons over the last year or so in different areas by her. And like I said, now that I switched on this particular radio station, it happens to play at a time when I'm in my car every day. And there's just so much great practical advice there, and she's spot on.
Yeah.
And that message, to me, was God saying, you need to share this with Dave. This is going to help you, so you're not going to offend him. Because I'm thinking like, oh, man, is he going to get mad at me if I send him a pity party message? And I'm like, no, you know what? He's going to get it. We're friends. He's going to get it. That it's not about the pity party. It's about dragging him out of the doldrums he's in. And I'm like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still sinking in. I'm not going to talk about it in the past tense like, oh, it worked.
It takes time.
It's given me a lot to chew on. And, it doesn't matter whether you're playing high school football or you're a professional in the world. In a lot of ways, she's like a coach. Someone it's hard when you're just self-motivated. We all, I think, can use someone...
Yep.
Over our shoulder, kind of going, let's go, pick it up. You can, one more rep, whatever it is.
That's why I think community is important. Community is an integral and vital part of Christianity, because you have other people that are in the Word as well, and it's a great
Word
to be able to share your experiences and share their experiences. The biggest thing for me when I first joined the church that Dave and I go to, was I was lucky at that point. They had several men's fellowship meetings that they invited me to early on. And it was really cool to hear other dudes having exactly the same problems as me.
Right.
Because then I'm like, oh, I'm not alone in this. And the second you find out you're not alone, all of a sudden now I've got a peer group I can rely on. And I've reached out to them. And they have reached out to me.
Right.
And it's just nice to get that support system. And it's a different kind of support than you get anywhere else.
Yeah. It's kind of like, maybe this is a bad metaphor. It's just the first one that popped to my head. But if you're, let's say, a Holocaust survivor, it's going to be hard to hang out with non-Holocaust survivors afterward. But if you're with one, there's a million things you'll never even need to talk about because you just get it.
You just get it. Yep. You're right.
Probably a bad example.
Actually,
that was a bad example.
Once you elaborated on it, it actually turned out to be an okay metaphor. I didn't know where it was starting off. I'm like, whoa, wait.
So,
yeah.
If you survive the Holocaust, you might go to... Yeah, so that's my... Let's talk about you guys. What's going on with you guys?
Same stuff, man. Everything's cool. Working and doing
Cat? Did you just take some... Oh...
What did you think it was?
I don't know, but it's funny because sometimes when I'm doing the editing on these shows, I'll hear like something rattling around in someone's mouth, and I'm like, who is that?
It's me.
Just
me
found
and,
it.
Me and Dave have brought Mentos on several occasions.
Well, okay, yeah, but I need to be more conscious of that. Quick story, short one. What happened Saturday? I was in downtown Ann Arbor with some friends. And this kid, we were sitting on a patio of a cafe, and this kid comes walking along. And I had never been to this place before. I didn't even really know what kind of place it was. You know, I really just wasn't paying attention. And this kid comes along, and he looks Arabic to me, and he's staring down at his phone, and he's playing Pokemon Go. Well, one of the people that I was with, don't get me started, but for whatever reason, that's, a thing for this person. And so they start talking to each other. And the kid says, as long as it doesn't interfere with him, and he points up to the sky, he says, I'm good to go with this thing. So I put my hand up to high five him, praise God. And as I was reaching for him, he said, yeah, a lot of Muslims think this is a sin, but I don't think Allah. And I mean, my hand just dropped. And so the Holy Spirit gave me some questions to ask him. And finally, God led me to two things that this kid could not, he just couldn't speak to. But the point of the story is, if this kid gets saved, could you imagine his testimony? I mean, I was a Muslim walking through downtown liberal Ann Arbor when a Christian started witnessing to me by the way, turns out we were sitting at a gay bar. And there were gay people around us, and our conversation was loud enough for everybody to hear, but it was loud, but it was not angry at all. It was very, very calm. He was very kind. So that was my weekend.
Yeah, well,
I like it.
I'm gonna be at the barbecue that he might come to, so I really look forward to meeting this kid.
I took his phone, and because, like I said, the last two things we talked about threw him. I mean, just totally threw him off. And so I took his phone, and I put the date, the time, and the place. And he said, pray for me. Pray that God will guide me. And I said, you bet, right to Jesus.
Yeah, actually, most, what the media might portray as a radical Muslim, let's just call them devout, they're interested in learning about their God and their own, I just personally believe that, I'm going to get myself killed by saying this, but I personally believe that the Quran is one of the it's not the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for here? Aberration of the Bible, but that isn't it. It's what word am I looking for, Howard?
Deceptive?
Ish. Yeah, something along those lines. It's basically it was one of the first moves Satan made after Jesus Christ was crucified to begin to divide the population. And
I was having a conversation with a friend about that today, and in the end, I truly believe what they say, what the media says. There are millions of good people who are Muslims. I have no doubt in my mind of that.
I think it's...
The difference is, where I stop with that is you have to, if you are a devout follower of the religion, and you are following the religion to the letter, What is your religion telling you to do? I mean, when I say I think there are millions of good Muslims, I think there are millions of good Muslims who are exactly like the everyday Catholics in this country, who just say they're Catholic, never go to church, never read a Bible, don't think about it. So I think that the people who are that the average Muslim we meet, the people who identify as Muslims, that they're just like we were. So yeah, absolutely, they're good people. They're nice people. I know they're nice people.
Yeah, I mean, we could take any sampling pool of.
But if you take the religion, if you do what its doctrinal manual tells you to do.
I'm not ready to go that far because I haven't read that yet for
different.
myself, and it would be very much like our media to make the masses think that's
right.
what's in the Quran, but that's not real. I think that's just something that needs to be.
Yeah, I recommend.
And I've read
I recommend
parts of it. There are no prophecies.
Listening to a Nabil Qureshi debate is what I would recommend. A former Muslim who turned Christian.
That's where the powerful stories are
And,
these frontline.
What was that guy? What was the guy's name that spoke at Northridge? Fayed?
Nabir
Nabil. But yeah,
Farood or something.
that's terrible.
That was Fayed. But anyway,
yeah.
I mean, look at some testimonies. And again, I'm not trashing.
Just look him up.
Yeah.
You guys all know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not trashing anybody or anything. I'm just saying that what I know about my religion, it's a religion of tolerance. It's a religion of peace. It's a religion of love.
And look, this is why I don't even like using words like religion. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you are Hebrew, Christian, or Muslim today. All of those religions started off with the same 5 Bible books. All of them did. And they are all progressing along, all on the exact same page until the day Jesus Christ shows up on the scene. Now there's a line in the sand, and society goes off in 3 directions. Direction 1 is all the Jews that understood this guy really was the Son of God. This is the guy that was predicted in every page of the Old Testament. Those are the Jews that became the Christians. And, those are the Christians pretty much today, except now they don't need to convert anymore because they're born Christian through several generations. Then the second group are the Hebrews, which would be the Pharisee, Sadducee, Sanhedrin class that just couldn't get their arms around the fact that this was the Son of God. They didn't believe it, so they're still waiting for their Messiah. I think they've been deceived. I think Jesus was the Son of God, and there's frankly no doubt in my mind about that. The Hebrews are still waiting for the first coming of Jesus Christ. The Messiah. They're literally waiting for him. This is setting up the Antichrist scenario so well. And then the third line in the sand, and these were former Hebrews, not Gentiles. This was the lineage. Abraham had 2 sons, which would spawn essentially 2 kingdoms. He had Ishmael and Isaac. Isaac is the father of basically Christianity today. The Hebrews and the Muslim world as we know it are the descendants of Ishmael. And their line in the sand was whether they obviously believed there was something special about Jesus Christ, because even to this day, any Muslim will tell you, Jesus, great man. But to only say that about Jesus makes almost no sense, because he wasn't a man, he was a God in a human body for a little while. And he wasn't just like one of the heroes. He is the only way. There is no other way. And then their portion of the deception started in roughly 600 AD when I believe, and it might even be the very Prince of Persia that's discussed in, is it Daniel? Isaiah?
Oh, we got a phone call.
Let me just close this out, though, real quick. And so...
Hi. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
We'll get back to that. So,
Welcome to Down the
Hi,
Road.
caller. Who do we have here?
Hi. So this is Quinn from Seattle. I'm 22 years old, just graduated undergraduate school, and now I'm going to grad school. But, yeah, I'm just calling. I've been trying to call you guys for the last few weeks. I keep messing up, every time for some reason due to technicalities, I think, with my phone. But, yeah, I'm just calling because I don't know what the topic is today. I've been working.
We're just
what do you guys?
We're just kind of free forming right now.
Yeah. Hey, how'd you hear about us?
So about a year and a half ago, when I was studying in London, I came across your video on YouTube, David.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean,
which one?
Blew my mind.
Anatomy of a Great Deception one?
Anatomy of a Great Deception.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I was raised in a military family. My dad was a naval pilot.
Yeah, so
and I had rejected these theories for years and years and years. And I watched your video, and 30 minutes in, you know, my mind was blown. And from there, I've just been searching, and it wasn't until about 3 to 6 months ago where I started to understand the spiritual component of all the things going on. And that's where, you know, I went from being depressed to I've never been happier in my life. So first off, I just wanted to say thank you, David, for making that video, because it changed my life, saved me. And, yeah.
Cool. Well, I love hearing that. It makes all those fights I had with my ex worthwhile at this point, just to hear it once.
You know, you have been praying for inspiration. Here's a young man on the phone telling you he's changed.
Yeah, look,
life.
I totally understand what you're saying, because I'm still dealing with the emotional fallout. I don't know why some people just embrace this so much more easily. It's been hard for me.
Yeah, but it was, you lived through it. You know, we got to glimpse it, and we may have empathy for what you went through, but our travels were different. That's why. This is Howard, by the way.
Yeah, and tell me, what's your name again?
It's Quinn.
Quinn
Marquis, yeah.
So,
but,
where are you today?
Yeah,
where are you right now, Quinn? Like, what's where is your belief system right now? Are you talk a little bit about that? I just want to hear that.
Definitely. So, you know, I from a young age, from about 7, I started to treat the idea of God much like a child starts to treat Santa Claus, and I just started to reject it. And for years and years, I lived my life blissfully, thinking that was the more intellectual way to live. And but now I've come full 360. For about a year, I was researching the Illuminati. I was researching 9/11, what occurred. I was trying to make sense of it, and I did not see that curveball coming until I started to put it together, much like you did, that what we were looking at was actually Satan. I mean, it blew my mind. And for the last 3 months, you know, I've been praying every day. My belief system is pretty much that, you know, our way out is Jesus, just like you guys say. I think my issue was I never understood what people meant when they said Jesus is going to save you, because it seems so dramatic when you don't understand what there is to be saved from. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, if you believe that when we die, it just, everything goes dark, and your personality, your presence, the essence of you is just never seen or heard from again, then the message Jesus has makes absolutely no sense. But if you understand that we really do have eternal souls, I mean, and we're going somewhere, and it really doesn't matter whether you're, you know, off in the New Age philosophy, like you believe in the ascended masters or some spirit guide, or you're going to reincarnate as some new person. Even they believe that it goes on in a spiritual world, and so you got to be there first. And I wasn't even there, and that's one of the reasons that it's like our generation has a hard time with this, whereas the vast majority of human history, they were just born into families that had this innate
remember.
understanding. There is a life after this.
Remember, our generation is the first generation that grew up with the Bible outlawed in school.
Totally.
Our parents grew up with the Bible in school. So why does our generation have a hard time? Because
exactly. And I realized that I had been brainwashed to pity my prior generations like a total a-hole.
Yep.
I thought that they had it all wrong, that they were missing something. They were trying to fill a gap with something for reasons that were just as a result of their ignorance or something, like as if I knew something.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I know what you mean by that.
Dude, it's like I'm listening to you play a tape of me. I remember just looking down at
crazy, dude.
I remember looking down at my poor mother as she's thanking God for all the good things that happened to her, and I'm just like, God, why are you doing this? He didn't do it, you did it. There's this, there's that, and I actually, in my arrogance in my 20s, in my early 30s, I had pity on those with faith. And then somewhere in my mid to late 30s, I realized when I was going through something and I felt that there was no way out, I realized that actually I should be envying those people because they have, the people of faith at that point, I realized they have something I don't have. If you don't believe in anything, then there's nothing. There's only you. But
exactly, and it ended up biting me in the ass, and I didn't even know it. I was, a slave to things without even knowing. I thought I was just living it up. But once you find it, you realize that it was nothing but change.
Exactly. How have your friends been with? Is this something you shared with your circle of friends? How have they responded or taken this?
Yeah. So I watched the video originally with my girlfriend, who I had met in London. She's from Sweden. We were just on vacation in Italy, and we watched it together. I know it's not the most romantic thing to watch, but
we were in Italy.
We watched it, and she immediately, she's the smartest person I know. She speaks 5 languages. She went to Cambridge. And she was watching it, and she immediately, I think it's because she's not American, she wasn't as shocked, but she just was like, yeah, makes sense.
Oh, yeah, you have to, if you leave our country, we're the only ones that don't know what's going on in our country.
We get that a lot from the people, from the people who have watched the movies and the people who follow what we do from Europe and outside of the United States, for sure.
So, so you guys watch this together, and this is how you started to, open up to this? Tell us, in summary, tell us the rest of the story.
Sorry, I think you cut out for a second. What was the question?
I was saying, finish the story. What was the...
Oh, yeah. So, since then, I've been, I've always been someone who, at least for the last 6 years, I've kind of been, even before, when I thought I was open-minded, when I was really still in the Matrix, I've always been someone who speaks kind of philosophically. I get kind of, passionate, obsessed about these types of things. So since then, I've really actually gotten through to about 24 people just by one-on-one discussions, breaking it down as calmly and slowly as I can. It's almost like an art now. It's kind of fun, I've only had one case of someone's mind just short-circuiting, and they got upset, and I don't speak to him anymore, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I used to get mad at those guys. I have pity on them because I know what their ignorance most likely will end up meaning for them.
And he went to the same school I'm going to. He went to London School of Economics. That's where I'm going for my graduate degree in economics. And I thought he was one of the smartest people I know. I was excited to share it with him. And he just totally, was like, dude, no.
It's interesting because
it was like speaking to a wall.
There are 2 people that I know of. I'm sure there are more, but there are 2 I know of for sure that are in my life. And I personally know these guys, and they are 2 of the most intelligent guys I've ever met. Tons of graduate, post-grad education, which I actually think ends up working against you. And they had the same opinion. They just saw it all and just said, in one dismissive fell swoop, just said, I just don't buy it.
It's just not for me.
Yeah, it's like they're plugged deeper and they have more plugs on them.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Matrix.
Because
exactly.
They've invested so much time and energy into studying.
Exactly.
Studying what the Satanists want us to know, want us to think.
Exactly.
And I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
What I found really profound was right around the time when I watched your film, I was taking a year-long course in the history of finance from medieval to modern times, and we got to see the international loans. The Bank of England was kept a sheet of international loans, and you could see that the Rothschilds, the sheer amount of money they were lending to South America, the rest of Europe. Just you do the math on how much money they had lent out and how much they claim their net worth to be today, it's astronomically off.
We talk about
they're lying.
Warren Buffett and Bill Gates being the richest on the planet in the vicinity of $60 billion. But if you actually follow, you have to understand, every dollar that's in circulation in any nation that has a central bank, and probably every nation on the planet at this point, every single dollar in circulation started off somewhere as debt to this particular family. And they don't have to, this was the cataclysmic part of Nixon removing us from having a gold standard where our money was backed by gold. And I was actually just in Chicago. I didn't even tell this to you guys in here. I was discussing our financial system because they didn't understand why printing money was so powerful. And I gave them that little example of my hometown. If I have 1,000 people in this hypothetical society, I decide to be the banker. And I've given out $50,000 loans to 999 other citizens. You know, my point is I just became your king. Because if I don't like the newspaper you own, I'll either call in your loan or set up 10 newspapers to drown you out. If I want a greater military, I will loan money to the military. If I don't, I control society secretly through money, and as a CEO of a company,
it's like a gang. You have to pay the piper, whether it's through currency or your soul, right?
Well, this is what hit home with my friend, because I gave him the example of just 1,000 people in this hypothetical example of my hometown. And my words were, I just became king over these 1,000 people. And he was looking all quizzically, almost like he was scared. And I went on to explain, when we allowed that Federal Reserve Act to get passed in 1913, that's the power we gave right back to the very people America was established to escape from. This tyrannical, Rothschild-driven banking conglomerate, which is literally the house of Satan on earth.
Oh yeah,
and
so the way they've organized themselves throughout different nations in strategic ways. I mean, that's not business. That's an operation.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit, but I think you were going in the direction.
I was asking you a question. Yeah, it's not. I mean,
they're the biggest cartel in history.
Behavior and their scrutiny. If you believe, as I do, that they funded the Bolshevik Revolution and Adolf Hitler. I mean, they're not chasing profit. It's so clear that their agenda is higher. And have you seen the photos of the Supreme Court that they built in Israel?
No, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that.
So you should Google Supreme Court Israel. It was funded almost entirely by the Rothschild family. They built it, and it's got an all-seeing eye pyramid.
Oh, on the roof
of it?
On the roof where you can only see it from the air?
No, I mean, someone took photos. You can see it up close. I mean, it's pretty interesting. That's what also put put the pieces of the puzzle together for me, and in understanding that Israel and its founding is not about a safe haven, making a safe haven for Jewish people at all. It's about fulfilling their prophecy. It's about creating that foundation to bring back the Antichrist, is what I think, at least.
Right. I mean, I think there's two agendas being fulfilled. He made a promise that he's going to bring his people back. In the same way, God can throw a Hail Mary at the very last second and undo a lot of plans. But just the fact that the people were brought back to their homeland, he predicted it, doesn't necessarily mean I agree with what's going on in Israel and, say, the Gaza Strip. But I do believe at the end of the day, that land, as was promised to Abraham several thousand years ago, will end up in the people that believed in God's Son. And that's basically the covenant and the promise. But I still think there's a little tribulation that's going to be happening worldwide.
Not all the people that are living there right now are going to be occupying it.
No, well, 2 out of 3 are. That's in several books, prophetic books. 2 or 3 of them are going to be going bye-bye. But the remaining 1/3, they will literally be down to their last bullet. They will not have been conquered by any other nation, and that's when they're going to realize, holy cow, this Creator God did send His Son, and that's when they all finally get it and fall down to their knees and say, God, I'm sorry, I am now with you, and then soon after His 1,000-year reign begins. So, well, listen, man, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you.
Yeah, here, I have this call, I just wanted to say, who I am and say thank you to David for making that film. I really do put you up there with Bill Cooper. But I wanted to say, next time I'd like to call, because I have some questions, more specific questions that I have for you guys that I want some help with, and I think that'd be cool. Maybe next week.
You can contact us through the AGD website, agdmovie.com. There are some contact
Just you can send me a personal email. Send it to dhooper15 at
what?
At gmail.com. dhooper15. I send it to my business one, actually, at Moving Flicks, MOVINGFLICKS.com.
Okay, so dhooper at movieflix.com.
Moving, MOVING.
Like moving pictures, but it's moving flicks.
Okay.
And this
Gotcha.
this podcast will be up within 24 hours, so you'll be able to come back here if you didn't get a copy.
Yeah, but call in. I think we're off air next Thursday.
We're actually playing an old show next Thursday because a couple of us are going to be out of town. But
call in whenever you want.
Yeah,
we would love to have you can talk back off air too if you've got other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We can set up a Skype, man. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to be praying for you, Quinn.
Yeah, well, I'll be praying for you, brother.
Yeah, I'll be praying for you guys too. All right.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Take care. See you, Quinn.
Have a good one. Bye.
That's awesome.
Dude, awesome call.
That's incredible. Hey,
He's really far away. That's totally exciting.
yeah.
That's so cool. Wow.
Yeah,
I wonder if
you got
that's
to talk less when we have callers.
Dude, I was just listening, man. It was awesome.
Monopolizing the entire thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's funny, I was gonna make fun of Catherine today, but it's not gonna work because these guys have been sitting here all quietly and we've been doing all the talking today. But I wanted to get one of those little sand hourglass timers that you get in like all your local board games.
That might be helpful.
And just put it down. Just go. That's
all
how
right.
much time.
That's all you got.
Do it.
Because as soon as Catherine goes, all right, let me. Long story short, here's how it goes. I'm just
Catherine's
like, all right,
been
people,
working
roll
very
out the
hard.
scroll.
That's when you got to bring out the what is that?
I think there's a little
An
pot
hourglass.
calling the kettle black going on here, but I'm not going to mention any names.
Oh, me? No, say it. Who cares? Say it.
But either way, man, that was cool.
That was
A
awesome.
year and a half ago, we watched that movie. You don't know who this guy is.
Now, come on, dude. You're asking God for a sign.
I did. I've been now
And-
so flooded with them.
Okay,
it's
so you
off
got
the
me and
charts.
Kat peppering you with Joyce Meyer and Bible passage.
Dave told me. You told me about that guy yesterday.
Yeah.
What was the story? You tell me. Why don't you talk?
Just
about
as
it?
a
5
guy I
minutes.
used to work with, that based on conversations I had with him at work constantly, and because you know how I am, and listening to the show, and watching the movie, and just something with him also clicked, and him and his wife have been diving in, man. And even a friend of his who's an elderly guy, really wasn't a religious guy, not really a guy of faith, but he got really sick, and he's been kind of laid up fighting an infection, and he proceeds to, my friend decided, he's like, I got to pray for this guy and make sure he's good, because, he's 85, statistically speaking, how much time he got left here, he wants to make sure that he's good to go, right? So he literally knelt down and said a prayer for him, and the next day went to go visit him. And he starts off with, hey, look, man, the old guy, right? He says, look, man, I want to tell you something, but I don't want you to think I'm crazy. And he kind of snickered, because it's like, really, dude? I mean, believe me, I'm not going to think you're crazy. Everybody I talk to is crazy, so it's fine. And he started telling him how he's getting all this information through dreams and visions he's been having. And he's literally going through and explaining to him the best way he can the physics aspect of the spiritual realm, the way we talk about it.
Wow.
But he's getting it from dreams. And it just floored him. I mean, my buddy was just like, dude, I can't even believe it. So he called me, just to say, hey, man, I want to thank you, for everything you guys are doing, because it's literally, changed my life. And now here, my friend, he's in good shape. It's pretty sweet.
Dude,
Praise God.
that's incredible. We got another caller. Put him on, Ken.
This will be the wrong number.
Yeah.
Hey, no, I'm here. What's up, guys? It's Photo.
Hey,
Photo. What's up, brother?
dude?
Could I get a large pizza with
Yeah.
pepperoni?
Right.
It's
Hey,
delivered.
I just wanted to throw something by you guys. I don't know what you guys had planned for the second hour there, but have you heard anything about what's going on with your buddy Dr. Edward Mantel? I know you guys brought it up. It was a couple months ago or something when you guys were talking about CERN, and you played
Right, because he had the
radio
co-worker,
interview.
the Michigan State professor, and I believe she was Michigan State University, who just in front of his eyes apparently disappeared. I haven't gone into that enough to vet it to know if that story is real or not, but just if I had to make a guess right now, it probably is in the way it was presented, but it sounds like you've got an update for us.
Well, the article I had saw was that they found him in his office there, and apparently of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that or read into it at all. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
Did
too,
not hear it, but that to
after
me,
listening to that, that you guys played that interview he was given on some radio station or what, where it sounded like on that he was a kind of in seclusion. He had left CERN and didn't really know what he was doing. But then, according to the article, being back at his office where they found him, kind of locked in his office, and he apparently shot himself.
No,
that
he didn't any more than
that
Vince
seems a little
Foster
strange
shot
to
him.
me.
No, actually, he didn't actually shoot himself. That was the single bullet from the Kennedy assassination was still traveling around.
Oh,
yeah,
it's still
It
bouncing around.
traveled through time.
Yeah, it
No,
traveled.
we're
through-
laughing
opened up
about
a
this,
doorway and,
but there is something tragic going on, because this guy originally put his testimony out online for the world to see, and he was afraid for his life as he's writing
Well,
this.
for good reason, apparently.
Obviously, he was correct to be afraid for his life.
Yeah.
And it is the
And I
insiders.
sound sarcastic, but I'm being sincere.
It's the guys like Bill Cooper and Phil Schneider and Chip Tatum that end up getting killed,
Yep.
because they are the direct witnesses. And my attitude to that is, don't get all quiet and scared and go into a closet. This is when you need to get out there and get even louder.
Yep.
And basically, it is put so many targets out there for the bad guys. They literally won't even be able to start. It will
And
overwhelm.
Pray like crazy.
Interesting. Though. I got to follow up on that.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Yeah,
on
there
that.
was and there was something. There was a YouTube post of another interview or something that he was given. I don't think it was that same one that you guys had played that clip from the live leaks or whatever
Right.
it was, wherever you guys found it. But there was something else on there. He was talking to somebody, and it was going, basically into the same type of stuff. What he in the interview that you guys played, and he makes some good points, and he's not the only one that
has come out of that area there, that, you know, that program that they're running, and have had that same, you know, mentality going on. And, you know, like I said, for him to all of a sudden come up dead from, you know, he killed himself or whatever, you know, it was mysterious, to say the least. So, you know, there's no telling what, you know, somebody needed to shut him up or what the case was, you know. But I don't know, like I say, I don't know if you guys wanted to dive into that, or I don't know what you had planned for the next hour, but that was, you know, pretty intriguing to me. So I figured I'd give you guys a shot real quick and see what you thought, that's all.
Yeah, that is definitely something we'll have to talk about.
Probably not this hour. I think we know what we're doing in this.
Research. I'd like to do a little research. We're going to finish up the Q&A from last week in the second hour, but that's definitely something to look into. Thanks.
I also
want
to talk about the Republican National Convention a little bit. It actually is tied to this, and there's a prophecy related to Donald Trump going back to 2011.
You know how many jaws I've had drop since you showed me that video?
Did I show it to you?
Yeah, you showed it to me.
You emailed it to us.
Did you guys look at it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll fill in some of the holes. We can do that in the second hour, and then we'll finish with...
we got to pay a couple bills, but thanks for
all
calling
right, guys,
in,
well, I'll let you get back to it. I'm gonna let you guys go, but I'll definitely be listening, man. I'll talk to you guys
take
later.
Care. Give our love.
See
ya. Love to your wife.
Right.
Thanks for the research.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Okay, we're gonna pay a couple bills. Let not get Kenny in trouble here. So this is Down the Rabbit Hole. We'll be back in 5. Hi, and welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. That was I got to thank Quinn for calling in, man.
It was awesome.
That was
inspirational.
Just absolutely inspirational. You know, sometimes we wonder, and we get to see the fruits of our labor in most of our everyday lives, because we've got a lot of our friends listening to the program, and we're reaching a lot of them, and we're very thankful for that. But to have someone, I mean, this reminds me of when we released the movie, you know, because now you're having someone who is from a completely different geographical area who's calling in and saying that he feels the same thing we do. You know, that the work that David did that started the work that we're doing together, that's having an effect on people, and that's very powerful.
That's awesome.
And it just makes me want to work that much harder. Maybe we need a 4-hour show.
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah, we get are we on air now?
Yeah.
Yes, we
are. We get lots of comments and
I know
stuff.
we do.
I mean,
I know we
it's
do.
through a litany of Facebooks and YouTubes and
I mean,
accounts. I don't even know how.
But that, to be able to actually question the guy, it makes it a little more powerful, you know. Then I mean, I appreciate everybody who comments on our Facebook page and on YouTube and you know, supports the various things we're trying to do to get the message out there. But man, that was just really cool, and I think there is no coincidence that it came at the time it came at.
Yeah, message received.
Yeah.
No doubt. Republican National Convention.
Okay, let's keep it short because I want to get back to your other thing.
So there was and this is tied to Trump, and we've talked before. You know, are there prophets in the modern day world? Truly prophets of God? Are there? To which I believe there certainly are a lot of people claiming to be prophets with prognostications about, they all, you know, they seem to be clustered around the same concept, which is this place is about to get turned upside down. We're in the last days. Warning, warning, red alert, you know, whatever. That message. Yeah. And then there's another group of them that aren't clustered around anything. They're just all over the place. And one of the guys that was not in the cluster, because the cluster of these self-proclaimed prophets, when you we've all done it. You do a search on YouTube and all the other videos pop up, and you just spend several hours just listening, and you're looking at their eyes. Are these people real? Are they? You know what I'm saying. It's not scientific. You can't vet it. You can't test it. Who knows if, there's no way to know that with certainty. I do believe that there are prophets in the world simply because all of the warnings Jesus gave about the last days was don't be deceived. Don't listen to a false prophet, a lying prophet, it wasn't. Don't listen to any prophets. Like we're done with that. That'll never. That ended with Jesus Christ. It'll never happen again. I believe that the spiritual forces of the world have been interfacing with humanity since the very beginning, right up through until today. So one of these prophecies was about Donald Trump, and it was interesting because it was from 2011. And I'm not going to bore you with how we know it's from 2011, but you can look it up. Just look up Trump president prophecy. I think you'll probably find the same testimony that I was talking about. And in 2011, so this is 4 years before Donald Trump announced his candidacy. Also, 11 years after, Family Guy was also predicting a presidential run from Trump. So
I think The Simpsons were too.
I'm hopeful about this particular prophecy because in 2011, this guy claims that the Lord literally appeared to him and gave him this message, saying that he's going to give our country a second wind, a second chance, in a sense, and it's going to be through Donald Trump. He's going to become the president. I'm going to see to it that he does. He will, I don't know what the words were, but reignite the Christian base that this country once had. And it's going to be, I don't think this solves humanity's problems. And I think really what we're talking about, the absolute ideal president might be able to stave off the predictions throughout the Bible for a while, but it's not. Let's understand something. This place is not going to get fixed. Not that I'm not hopeful about it, but if we're talking an extra 20 years or 100 years or even 5 years, that's a big deal. And they went into detail about how Trump would run, how he would end up winning the presidency. And so I'm sitting here going, and there has something. It's almost there's nothing I can point to specifically, but it feels like in the last 2 months, Satan's entire New World Order plan has been, to say it's derailed makes it sound like it has been completely.
It hasn't been thwarted, but it's being impeded.
Absolutely. And Britain's exit from the European Union is such a massive blow to a one-world government. And all of a sudden, we've had what I'll just call flat-out Luciferian administrations. I mean, going back to George Bush Sr., it was George Bush Sr., Clinton, Jr., Obama. We are going on, what is that, 28 years? And I'm looking at this. I'm like, holy cow! These guys are about to literally pull off their one world. And you know me, I've jokingly said Obama will still be president.
But a lot of that stuff is a lot of the things that need to be put in place in order for that to happen are developing right now. I mean, for me, I'm so disheartened with what's going on and the way the things that are going on in this country. I had actually considered for the first time in my adult life not even bothering to vote because I honestly did not believe that there was a chance that there was going to be a president other than Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama come November. I figured it's going to be one of the two of them. There's just no way it's going to happen. This gives me renewed hope.
Without a doubt. And Trump, he will make it especially difficult for a new world order to manifest itself. I mean, he wants to put up our borders. Yeah. He doesn't want us to be joining union.
Is he perfect? No. But stop being upset with the fact that he comes off in a very brash manner and really read what he's talking about doing.
People are so caught up. Oh, he doesn't act presidential. Oh, why? Because he probably doesn't have people murdered behind the scenes, or he's not completely fake.
Yeah.
Who knows who he really is? But, I've never heard Obama, anyone in Obama's family ever talk about Obama. I mean, frankly, I think his roots are harder to believe than some of the things we actually do talk about here. The kids and, Mike Pence for sure. Mike, is that his first name?
Yeah.
Okay. So the kids, it was interesting. No one has come out and said Jesus Christ that was on that at that mantle at the RNC. In fact, it's still going on. It'll be the last night, I believe, is tonight or maybe tomorrow night. However, a lot of the kids actually used passages uncited from the Bible in their speeches. And don't ask me to tell you which one it was. I don't even remember. All I remember going is, oh my God, that is right out of the New Testament. Like, that's out of the New Testament. Enough so it was beyond an accident. Like, I think they were trying to communicate something, but it's political suicide probably these days to say, oh, I believe in Jesus Christ. But I loved Mike Pence gets up on stage, and the first thing he says, he says, I even wrote this down because I want to talk about it. He said, most of you people don't know me. I'm a Christian first, American second, Republican third, in that order. Nice. And I was just like, all of a sudden, I'm opposite of you, because I know we were all raised to go, oh, voting is it's the right that everyone fought for, and we all need to go vote. You know what? It's a rigged system, and I am not going to partake in a rigged system. I'm just not going to do it. Now, some people might view that as unpatriotic. There's a lot, so be it. I just don't buy into the fact that there are two candidates on a ballot, that we have truly free elections, and I'm not going to condone what we do have by participating in it until guys like Ralph Nader is allowed to enter a debate and not not prevented from entering because of being threatened to be arrested by the Boston sheriffs. Go look that one up, folks. So I'm like, this is a rigged system. What's the point? Like, would I go vote in North Korea if there's only one guy on the ballot? But there's two people on the ballot here, but so that's what
that
freedom.
Makes us a democracy.
Yeah, which actually wasn't intended. We were supposed to be a republic. And I go back to Ben Franklin's quote about what a democracy is, and that's two wolves talking about what to have for dinner with a sheep, the three of them. But in our particular case, the sheep is armed. And as long as he's armed, there is some sense of justice there, balance. So with some of the things that have been going on just recently, I'm wondering, the Britain's exit from the EU for me was massive. The attempted coup, and I haven't gone back in to see where they are, but what is the latest in Turkey?
They stopped it. They've fired 9,000 or 10,000 police officers, are rounding up everybody that had anything to do with it, and they just granted Erdogan, am I saying that right? It doesn't matter. Sweeping powers, because they've created like a state of emergency in Turkey. So he's literally now got, he's the king of Turkey now.
So I don't know enough yet. Like, this will take some time to research.
People should probably pay attention to that.
What's happening in Turkey?
Well, Turkey's key.
Well, biblically speaking,
really
it is.
Turkey's
look
key.
Really familiar come November.
Oh yeah, very possibly. I'm totally with you there. I'm definitely now hopeful about Trump. He may get me off my butt to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To me, this is a litmus test. Finding this video, and I think it's important that we circulate it, okay? Because it is verified of when it aired. So this is something that happened 4 years prior to it actually happening. Excuse me. And that's exactly what's happened. That video, I wasn't going to vote. That video will get me out to vote. And if the only two candidates on there, if my choice is between Hillary and Trump, there's no choice for me. It'll
Oh,
be
you certainly can't have Hillary the necromancer as president.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
And maybe
that
if you're
woman
talking
is
about, if you're talking about voting,
sold so long ago. I mean, that
she's
gone.
higher ranking, dude.
so if now you're talking about voting, someone who admits that he traditionally does not vote, maybe that's how God will ordain Trump president. Maybe that message is what's going to get us off our butts to go out and flick a lever.
In that prophecy, and he also knew who maybe that one wasn't such a stretch, but this guy knew that it was going to be Hillary Clinton that was going to be running against Trump in 2011. And these things that we're observing, or information that's just gotten to me through people I know, family, friends. Well, like my sister, for instance, she'll be on Donald Trump's Facebook page and just see his numbers every day growing by tens of thousands. And Hillary's Facebook page has just been static. Like she keeps looking at the numbers, and there's no new people listening. And I'm feeling this fervor for Trump. I haven't found anyone that's out there going, "Oh, Hillary Clinton's got to be, it's got to be her." Yet every time the media's on, they're making it sound like Trump's always this long shot, and then that's what the media does.
That's what the media does. It's controlled. It's controlled by the liberals. And trust me, there are people out there, because I am proud to say that I do not know anyone who is actually stupid enough to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton. But I know people who know people. And they've come to me. They're like, "Yeah, I was having a conversation. And they actually love Hillary."
I don't know how you can, even if her message was spot on and right on and she was the one, I can't handle her voice, dude. I can't listen to her talk. I can't. I can't listen to it. If I got to hear that crap for 4 years, you guys are going to witness me losing my mind. I cannot possibly listen to that woman's voice for longer than 10 seconds. It drives me insane.
I think the real loser in all this, I think the one person that has the largest right to be pissed is Dick Nixon. All that dude was added a few minutes of tape, and they were going to impeach him. Hillary Clinton's a murderer, and they're letting her off scot-free.
Yeah.
Did anybody hear about the meeting between the Attorney General and Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah.
And since when does a policing body, so the FBI is sent in to question Hillary and to discuss some things, and I think it was the director of the FBI comes out and says, "Yeah, well, we talked about it, and my take on it was that this wasn't worth prosecuting."
Yeah. That's not your decision
exactly.
to make, pal.
Your job is to investigate.
You
let
bring the
judges,
facts to the
juries, and
prosecutor.
courts.
Yeah.
Well, this was set up, though.
Of course,
from
it
the
was,
beginning,
of course.
and I mean, even obviously, I mean,
well, the second that what's her name? The last Attorney General I remember is
Condoleezza Rice.
That's
No.
Loretta Lynch.
Madeline
Loretta
Albright?
Lynch. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she set this up months ago when she's like, well, I'll do whatever the FBI. If the FBI says I should indict, I'll indict.
Well, she said that she would basically follow whatever the FBI's recommendation was, right?
She threw Comey under the bus.
So he comes out. They obviously had a talking to with this guy. I mean, come on. And he came out and he said, well, we couldn't really prove intent and all this kind of sparsing of words, when that's not how the law is structured. I mean,
there are people in jail right now for doing
it's like if you
tenth of what she did.
It's like if I robbed the bank and said, well, I was just trying to feed my kids. They're like, oh, in that case, it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not how this works. He comes out and says, well, I would not recommend an indictment. There's not enough here, whatever. All the prosecuting attorneys on the planet are losing their minds because this is a slam dunk. And then, of course, Loretta Lynch can just say, well, FBI said so, we're not going to.
We must look to the world the way I personally often viewed third world countries, run by these murdering dictators. And I'm just like, oh, my God, what would it be like to have the leader of your country just be a known murderer?
It's a great system. Let's
and here we are,
that's what we have.
I mean, we've got it.
That's
we
what we
do
have
it,
yes.
and have had it. When you really understand what's really happening, the research is out there, folks. You can find out what our presidential administrations have really been involved in. You'll never see it on the mainstream news, and we're on the verge of being one of those countries where we're run by a despotic.
This is literally the last chance. Quite literally, the last chance.
And God's always given. I mean, the Bible is littered with Israel having second chances. Then they'd blow it the third time. Then they're dispersed to Babylon. Then they're brought back again. Then they're screwing up again. They get another chance, another chance. Then Jeremiah says it's over in 60 days. The southern kingdom kneels down and says, God, please forgive us. The northern kingdom says, F you, we don't care. So God says, you know what, I'm going to save the southern kingdom. And northern kingdom, it's just, that's who gets carted away to, I want to make sure I got my facts right. He gives them a stay of execution, essentially. Pisses Jeremiah the prophet off because now it makes him look like he was not truthful. Although he never lied. He was never wrong about what he said. And it seems like God can be negotiated with. He is one of second chances. And all throughout the Bible, it doesn't matter if it's Moses or if it's Abraham, you find him negotiating with the characters from the Bible. Abraham's like, oh, come on. How about if we find 40 people in the city that are good? Will you save it? God's like, okay. Abraham negotiates them down to, I think, 5 people or 10 people in Sodom and Gomorrah. If he can find 10 righteous people,
right,
then God will not. Then Moses, prior to that, Moses was trying to get into the promised land, and he's basically like, come on, God, 40 years? And God's like, he's no pushover, because to Moses he said, so sorry, pal, but you're not getting into the promised land, and I don't want to hear any more about this. Just cut him off. But he was entertaining Moses's. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
The theme of.
Yeah.
Not that I would rely on negotiating with God to get out of any predicament we might be in on Judgment Day, but.
Well, Jacob wrestled with God, and he said, I'm not going to let you go till you bless me. And God broke his hip.
Really? I don't. What is that story?
In Genesis, read the story of Jacob wrestling with God. He wrestled with Jesus. Just read the story.
Huh. Okay. I will. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
It has definitely renewed my interest and my hope.
And there's something like if we get into February and Trump is the president of the United States. Because right now, I don't know. There's no
If they just elect him. I mean, if he's just the president-elect, I'm throwing a party.
Well, he's going to need to get almost 80% of the votes to win. And this is what's so sad about this country, because if Hillary Clinton gets even 10% of the vote, I think that will be broadcast as a win for Hillary. And Trump might be the only person in America to actually have the wherewithal, the resources, and the balls to maybe do something like fund a second set of eyes at every single ballot box across the United States. I'm sure that type of idea has crossed his mind.
I don't even think he needs to fund them. I think if he just brings it up, there's enough of us sick of the machine that you would get people to stand there and be a second set of eyes.
Hey, whatever happens, dude, there's no way we can allow the Clintons back in the White House.
No.
No way.
No way.
No way. The people, I get these never Trump people. I tell you what, I'm the never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, never, ever, ever, never. I'll throw a couple more in there. Clinton, ever. Yeah, no more Hillary.
The
no,
never Trump people.
Can't happen, dude. This can't happen. I'm
still having a hard time sometimes dealing with that sheep mentality. Really, you see someone on a television show or on they're all primed up for some speech. You think that's who they are for real? You think Hillary or Barack is more quote-unquote presidential? I mean,
dude, at this point, I would put my 2-year-old daughter in there, because for 4 years, you know what she would do? Literally eat and crap her pants and color on the walls, and that would be better than having Hillary Clinton in there for 4 years.
Well, the closer we get to this,
nothing would happen, and that would be awesome.
I've just really started following Trump's campaign in the last few weeks, and most of it was inadvertent because my sister was so excited about it. But listening to it, in many, many instances, they're not coming out and saying it black and white like we might have the freedom to do on this show. But several of the institutions that are clearly, they might use words like part of the old network, the old boys system, part of the establishment.
Yeah.
But when you see the ones that they're discussing essentially wiping out Obamacare, which is one of his top things, that's such a massive move away from this unified world socialist government.
They pull the plug on it.
And I'm beyond hopeful for it. Like I would never vote based on Republican or Democrat because they are the same thing. And even though sometimes the statistics seem to contradict each other, Trump has gotten more electoral votes as a Republican candidate than any other candidate in history. But never has the Republican Party been more divided, which actually makes me happy because I don't want a Republican in there, nor do I want a Democrat in there. Now, if this guy's going to slide in under the Republican quote-unquote banner, because that's the way our junk system's set up, you got to either be a Democrat or a Republican.
Got to change the system
since the Abraham Lincoln election. Fine. What is? It's just a title, Republican. At the end of the day, the things that he cares about, they line up right on, as far as I can tell. Like, I'm not deep into it, but with what God would want from a leader of a nation, based on what God says all throughout those 66 books in that Bible. So, at the expense of then sounding wrong to a lot of people in my inner circle about, get your supplies ready, get good with God. I would much rather have this and buy this nation some time to get its prophecy's already been written about what's, I think, going to happen. So we're talking about delaying the inevitable. But an extra 10, 20 years, even several months can make differences in people's lives. It's going to be very interesting.
It is going to be interesting.
I look forward to it.
I wonder, where does Satan have his meetings? Because he does have commanders. I mean, they're talked about in the book of Enoch.
I know the regional meetings are in Novi.
In his war room.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? They're going on constantly all the time, dude.
Somewhere by
and is in overtime right now because like what you're noticing with this stuff, Dr. Ben Carson came out and basically tied Clinton with Satan.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And they were mentioning Lucifer.
Exactly.
Lucifer mentioned several times too.
Luciferians. So these, it's like throwing it out there, right?
Become like what we're talking about is getting.
I find the fact that
respectable people.
Ben Carson is behind Donald Trump.
Oh, for sure.
Very powerful because that was my boy. That's who I wanted.
Yeah, he sounds like he's a real.
I wanted the smartest guy in the room, even though they were trying to make him, trying to make a pediatric brain surgeon, heart surgeon.
He's only the top.
Yeah, he's only the top pediatric brain surgeon ever, but he's a moron.
Well, now he's a nut job.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
You see how they're tearing him up in the media now with what he said.
When he first came out and endorsed Trump, I thought, the first thought that went into my head was, what? Are you kidding me right now? But then I felt like I was saying, I need one of my boys in that camp. Chill.
Yep.
And I thought, well, that's pretty brilliant.
And I'll be honest, I'm not totally crazy about everything about Trump, but that's fine.
Neither.
Because, again, I don't even care at this point.
I'll take a bottom line business.
I will take a corpse
and
over Hillary Clinton. A dead person would be better.
Yeah, dude.
For real. That empty.
You
that
cannot
chair empty would be
learn
better.
to run anything by working in government.
Because
I've had experience on both sides of this. It is such a different mentality.
Her in there puts the left-handers in the fast lane. Guarantee that.
Oh, yeah, I think she's just as greasy.
And I don't mean left-handed people. I mean...
Right, the left-hand path.
Right, sorry, I should have...
The demonic these people that follow. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
they call
Yeah, I
themselves.
was going to say Howie's left-handed, and he'd
puts-
never vote for her.
It puts that on in the fast lane, dude. I mean, and that's what they're up to. I mean, if I'm going to be on my seat, just like I was when Obama was first running,
Yep.
and everybody was like, "Yay, this guy's awesome." I'm like, dude, no, he's not.
Yeah, I never had that feeling about.
Oh, I was watching that all night, and Chris like, go to bed. I'm like, I can't go to bed. I have to know what I'm going to wake up to tomorrow.
I cried.
It was horrible.
I did. I
It was
cried
horrible
yeah,
because,
but-
again, they managed to mask it completely. And anyone that ever came out to say anything, the truth, was immediately shut down. Like, you're just racist, whatever. And that was actually well played. I give him credit.
Yeah.
That was a real good chess move there. And that was really why that he's there. So
Right.
you can't say anything bad about him.
Because white people can't say anything about him because he's black.
That whatever, yeah. So it makes you, But no, this one is going to be. It's got my attention. It's got my
Yeah,
full
I
attention.
have completely renewed interest after you sent me that video.
All right, let's pick up. We got a half hour left.
Yeah, we got a half hour
We're going
left.
to tape and glue the last couple weeks' shows
Okay.
into one, probably. So I was asking you guys some probing questions about how your life has changed since your worldview shifted, how you guys are dealing with it, some of the pros, some of the cons. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. Maybe a half hour is perfect. So I got a question. Now, we just had all this talk about perhaps the delay of Christ returning is woven into the fact that we could have a non-establishment president that has not been bought by these evil powers in office. With all that aside, let's say before we had this conversation, or whatever, do you guys think you will see Jesus Christ returning to earth in your lifetime? And what probability percentage would you put on that?
No.
No what?
No, I do not believe I'll see him returning in my lifetime.
If you're saying that on a technicality because you'll be in the heavens with. I'm talking about. Do you think this is something that will be going down in the next 10 to 15 years?
No, I do not.
Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to get back to that. What about you guys?
I
Dave
think there's always a possibility.
I agree with Dave. I can't say yes or no. It feels like it, but you never know. You just don't know. Trump could be an opportunity for this country to be revived, but maybe not. I don't, so it's hard to say.
So you don't, Howard, you don't, nor... So in your mind, everything we're talking about is something that is really going to be your son's problem. Yes?
I don't even think it's going to be his problem.
So you think we might have 50, 100 years?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. And
to be honest with you, I don't have any great research to support that. A lot of the things that I have found out as I've devoted my life to Christianity is that I had feelings. There were things that I believed in my heart but could not prove. So therefore, I was not a devoted follower of Christianity. But the second that I got rid of the barriers between myself and God, it has been a series of finding in Bible passages things that I already believed in my heart are true. And I can't cite every one of them, but I haven't been incorrect yet. So I am looking for a scriptural basis, and in the Bible it says no man will know the day or time. And there's also a passage about we're supposed to live each day as if we'll wake up in the morning. So basically it's like, don't prepare, don't store food. God's going to take care of you. Okay? And
well, I want to clarify that. If you feel you're supposed to store it, because he needs something to multiply when...
You're right. But for me personally, the way I'm supposed to live my life according to the Bible, I don't have any type of feeling that this is going to happen. I have nothing but faith and hope that we're going to find a way to turn this thing around.
Can I share something just real quick? I will say this. About a year and a half ago, I had an overwhelming sense to purge my things. And it was really weird because within a 6-month period, I talked to 3 other people who don't talk to one another that were doing the same thing, but I didn't even tell them what I was doing. And one of those 3 people is now living in New Zealand because her husband feels as though, God is saying it's time to flee from Babylon because that's what the Bible says. It says flee. And so they flew. They're gone. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I can't put a time frame on it, but I certainly believe, without a doubt, that we're in between the white horse and red horse prophecy.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at.
Absolutely.
And if you look around, I don't see, being analytical about it, I don't see how we have 50 years unless something really, really radical changes. Evil is literally bursting at the seams.
Yep, you're right.
There's way too much going on now where it's just really wacky stuff, too. It's almost every day you can find a news story about somebody slaughtering their children and all the stuff that's going on. The amount of it is more than ever. And it lines up. So can we say 10 years, 20 years? I don't know, but we're certainly in between that. I believe that the Antichrist is alive and operative. I believe that the system that's described is already there because to emerge it has to already be set up, right? For the Antichrist to appear, he has to already be alive. I think these things are in the works. Can it be derailed? I guess, but I think it's going to be... I don't know. If I can say, like, my kids will live to be 90, something big time is going to happen in their lifetime, for sure.
Yeah, after looking at the battlefield or the chessboard, whatever you want to call it, I felt that society is 1 or 2 moves away from checkmate. And, if it doesn't happen in the very near future, then everything opens way up because, the internet is a very important and new variable on the scene because people are, the Seattle guy that called earlier is a good example. There's an awakening that's happening worldwide, and I've just been anecdotal mathematically looking at the number of comments I used to get 5 years ago versus, where they fall today and the change, and then you extrapolate that out. And all of our systems are at breaking points, whether it's financial, climate, political, our military. We've had 350 generals lose their jobs and under Barack Obama's administration, replaced by, quote unquote, his guy. I just was looking at the fact that this is going down right now, and if they actually wait much longer, this truth that we've stumbled on, we're going to reach a critical mass where all of a sudden you get that 100th monkey effect. And if that happens, then all of a sudden I think Satan's like, oh, well, we got to and do this again. That could be 50, 100. That's the only way I see 50, 100. But we're 1 or 2 moves away. The system's in place. The world government has been set up. That's the United Nations for decades now. The banks have control of the whole planet. The strongest militaries on the earth are in the hands of, it's all set. But, there's something else happened, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is not the first time that there's been a setback. Pope John Paul famously, the who was second. Thanks.
Second.
In the early 90s, he said there will be a new world order by 2000. And a couple other people had said something along that line. I don't even know where this came from, but I had this impression that the original plan had been derailed a little bit, hence extra time. Because he would have been an insider.
Sure.
He would have understood these plans. He he seemed to be fairly certain that this was going to be happening by the year 2000, which obviously did not happen.
Might have, but
Publicly.
it's being prepared, right? It's in a way we kind of are. I mean, a lot changed in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, but while I see our government doing everything in their power to destroy the church and to secularize everything and to lead us down a sexually amoral path, they're doing everything in their power to turn the United States into Babylon. We also, we are not the only ones. I've heard the comment dozens of times from other people that are doing similar things to what we're doing. People are starting to convert to Christianity in droves.
Well,
people are waking up to what's going on, and they are reaching for the Bible.
Yeah, and in the Bible, Matthew 24 always seems to come up. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So
We are there.
that's where you bring up the internet. That's really the key, dude. That's the key to that. I mean, how else would that possibly happen?
Well, exactly.
To where you know that this is happening.
And it
Right.
also talks about there's going to be one last swell of people that become believers.
That's exactly what that says.
right at the end, which I think, personally for me, I think I'm in that group.
We're kind of building on that, right? And again, in our concept of time, 10 years, 20, 50 years is literally only makes sense to us because we're trapped in time, right? So it seems like a long time to us. But
That's nothing.
Well, no, I mean, because literally he doesn't operate in the confines of time. So he can literally see the past, present, and future all at the same time. So to try to get your head wrapped around that, time is nothing to God. So when we say, and I as a human being, of course, I hope Howard's right. I mean, I want to retire and be broke like my grandparents. You know what I mean?
Well, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask about that, was that if you believe, and pretty much by definition any Christian believes that Jesus Christ is real and he really is coming back, does that make you happy or sad?
Depends on when he's coming.
No, I think I would say it makes me happy because if you really understand what that means, then it doesn't really matter. And I would kind of like to see it because I love fireworks.
Yeah.
My
So-
answer to that question is yes. It makes me happy and sad. I mean, happy that, yes. I mean, come on, let's get this done, But sad because there are some people that I love with all my heart that don't know him. I mean, will they get a second chance in the tribulation? Yeah. But
Yeah, it'll be almost impossible at that point.
yeah.
That's why I hope Howard's right, because if I can grow old and retire, I mean, at our age now, we got some time left, maybe in the next 30 to 40 years, God willing, we live that long, how many other people could we, get to?
And that's what I feel in my heart.
I mean, that would be cool.
Again, I'm not going to know anything. I'm just going to do the best I can to prepare myself and my family
Yeah.
and those I love so that we don't experience any of it.
Well, actually, I mean, I mean, if you go pure scripture, I mean, the only thing you're going to experience is the rapture anyway.
Right.
So that to me is rock and roll. So, I mean, if it's going to happen, then in my lifetime, I hope that I'm at least, able to be like, yeah, this is sweet, just like they said.
If it is a pre-trib rapture.
If it is
and-
pre-trib, that's right.
And I don't think we are in any position to
Now, people
think
debate,
we deserve that.
people
'cause
debate that all the time, and I guess that's a key factor in it. But
I hope for a prepping
yeah,
for
sure,
a post.
of course, yeah.
And it's weird, but I've been almost living my life with this assumption that it's going to happen so soon that I'm worried my son won't even be old enough to think for himself.
Which is actually okay. That's actually better because he won't screw it up.
Yeah. We'll see. The next 6 months, I think, are going to be... There have been a few times where I was just, last September was one of them.
Yeah, there's
On the
always these
heels
key.
of the
Yeah.
blood moon.
The alarm went off, and I'm like, "Oh, cool! We woke up. All right, cool."
You know when the beads of sweat are going to start forming on my forehead is when they break ground on the temple. And they already have the plans. They already have the means to do it.
I think they did
Well,
break
for all we
ground
know,
last
there could
month.
already be a temple.
They did?
Yeah, we talked about that on a show. I don't know if you were here.
I think the technicality is it's not actually the Temple Mount that's really the
Okay.
spot. It's like next to it.
But as soon as that happens...
But yeah, and that's
it up.
that's,
well, all the other signs,
dude, it's all there. It's all
Jesus
lines
did
up.
say only God knows when. It's not for us to know the day or the time
of the rapture.
But we are to know the season.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we'll know
But
the
you'll know roughly when it's going to happen.
Well, we'll know the exact day when he actually steps foot on the Mount of Olives. We can.
We'll know.
We'll do the math. It's in the book of Daniel.
When who steps?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's all laid out.
But something.
Once that happens, we're going to know exactly.
But the
how long we
tribulation
have.
has to kick off.
No,
first.
it's actually marked right from the appearance of the abomination of desolation.
That's halfway through the trib.
So once that happens,
then you've got
then you can take a
1260
marker and you
days.
can start checking off.
Yeah.
The one thing we don't know is when people are getting zapped out of here.
That's what we
the
don't
mystery,
know.
right? That's the one we don't know about. And that could happen right now. I mean, it could happen any minute.
But the way I look at it, by the time the abomination of desolation happens, which for anyone that's not sure what that is, there was a predicted moment in time where the Antichrist is going to be in essentially the real house of God, the temple, the rebuilt temple. There have
Right.
only been two of them all throughout history. This implies that a third one would need to be built, which is not built yet, but like Kat said,
that we know of.
Exactly halfway through the tribulation, he gets up and he says, I am God.
Yeah.
And it's in that second, there's another passage that says, you see that happen? Because the whole world will see it.
Yeah.
This is one of those prophecies that made no sense 100 years ago. Because how could the whole world see something that's going on in Israel? Well, television changes that completely. It's just one of those many things all in these last days. But God basically says, get the hell. Don't even go back home to get your shoes.
Right.
Because I think fire is good. That's when he loses it.
He'll put some pagan idol in there, and that'll be it. That'll be what it is.
I don't know what my opinion is if I want it to happen in this 5 minutes. So what did I hear from you guys? Happy or sad?
I think both, right?
For me, it generally happy. I mean, I'm good with it, dude.
Both.
Yeah, I'm good with it. It doesn't really make me sad.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, there's people I want to hook up with, so it's the only way I'm going to get to.
Who do you want to hook up with?
Yeah, people that are gone.
Oh, meet up. Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not that kind of hookup. What's wrong with that?
Look,
No,
dude,
I just want to get one last one
I'm
in.
still a pig. Yeah, I mean, that's who I am. I'm
man.
like,
Dude,
all
we're
right,
close.
yeah, let's hook it
Answer
up.
the phone. We only got a couple
One
minutes.
last night of
in the
hooker.
temple. Pick up.
Exactly.
It's good to laugh.
I'm praying for
It's good to
the
laugh.
two of you.
All right, we got 5 minutes.
Which two of us? Okay. The Daves.
The Daves.
All right, let's do
D-squared.
something kind of fun. We'll take
Hi, Jeff.
to do up these 5 minutes. Hey, guys, what's up? All right, you guys are not regular people anymore because, we're like in tune with what we believe is truth, which is not the majority of the population's not where we are.
I don't know that we were regular people before.
We'll just go with that.
So I almost want two answers for each of these unless you think it's the same. So when you compare yourself to what I was trying to get at as a quote-unquote regular person, I want to know what images come into your head as someone that is a believer today versus what image you think would be in the head of a quote-unquote regular person. And the first word I want to use is Christian. Like when you hear that word, what does that mean to you? And what do you think it means to average Joe Blow walking down the street?
Interesting question. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to me? Well, now, when I hear the word Christian, I just think of myself and my wife and people that I know.
Do you have any negative associations with that word, or are they
No.
all positive
Not anymore.
associations?
No, all positive, and I understand it. But before, I pictured, the the typical, all the buzzwords, right? The Bible thumpers and, the real whack jobs that are, trying to take your money and like the Benny Hinn's, okay? Like, that's what came to mind.
Interesting. Kat, what about you?
Well, when I think of a Christian, I think of somebody who's a follower of the way, somebody who has a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and believes he's the Son of God. Before, when I thought of Christians, I guess my thinking really went to Catholics because that was my frame of reference. That's what I was raised. And then I guess I probably thought that everybody who wasn't a Catholic but claimed to be a Christian was like a Jesus freak or a Bible thumper, something like that.
Howard?
Pretty much in Dave's camp. When I think of Christians now, I think of, now that I've learned the actual Christian way, I think of people who are trying to do good in the world. I think of people who care about their neighbor rather than trying to shut them out. What did I think of before? Annoying Bible thumpers.
Yeah, I thought annoying too.
I thought hypocrites.
Yeah.
Annoying, delusional.
Sure.
The first word that would come to my mind is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually now...
Simple.
Now, there are a lot of people that live their life under the I'm a Christian banner.
Sure, of course.
Who, by my own interpretation, are
They're not
nowhere
Christian.
near.
They're opposite.
I mean, they're clearly discussed. I've got some people very close to me in my personal life.
Read a little more about deception.
Well, it says in the Bible, you'll know, he said, you'll know who my children are by the fruit that they bear. You can talk with your mouth all day long.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
See, down here, deeds mean something.
That's right.
They mean nothing to him.
Right. Because you don't have to work your way to him.
Exactly. But you can see, most of the Christians I know never tell anybody they're a Christian. You can just tell. You can see.
Well, unless they're evangelists. But not saying
But you know
you're a
what I'm
Christian,
saying?
But you're right. Witness to someone. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right.
No, you can tell.
I hear you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can tell.
Without a doubt.
Can anyone describe...
We got like 1 minute. So
Okay. Can anyone describe how the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus are all connected yet separate? Does anyone have an image in their mind of how this operates?
Kat does.
Can you do that real quick, Kat?
What God gave me on that was water. Water is H2O, and it's liquid. A solid, ice, is H2O. A gas is H2O, right? It's 3 separate states, but all H2O. That's the only, when I started praying about that, that's what came into my head. That's what I believe that God got me thinking about.
Brilliant. And on that note, we're going to have to put this one to bed. This has been Down the Rabbit Hole. Next week we're off, so catch us the week after that. To God be the glory. Great things he has done.